The desperate Calder research vessel Stellar Serenity had been gliding through the empty void of space for 3 months, its sleek silver hull reflecting the distant light of foreign stars. The ship belonged to the Kythera, a species known throughout their small corner of the galaxy for their peaceful nature and scientific curiosity. They had evolved on a world with gentle gravity and mild weather, where the most dangerous creature was roughly equivalent to Earth's butterflies. Captain Zephyr stood on the bridge, his tall, graceful form moving with the fluid motions typical of his people. The Kythera were beautiful beings, with crystalline skin that shimmered in blues and greens, large eyes that saw across multiple spectrums, and delicate limbs that spoke of a world without predators. They had been exploring space for over 2 centuries, always in peace, always seeking knowledge rather than conquest. "Captain," called Dr. Lyra from her science station, her melodic voice carrying excitement. "The stellar phenomenon we detected is even more fascinating than we hoped. The gravitational waves suggest something we have never seen before." Zephyr nodded, pleased. The Stellar Serenity carried 15 of the most brilliant scientific minds from his homeworld of Kyrian. They had ventured farther from home than any Kythera expedition before, drawn by mysterious signals from deep space that suggested new types of stars or perhaps even artificial constructs left by ancient civilizations. Their peaceful mission took a catastrophic turn without warning. Chief Engineer Talon was deep in the engine room when the first explosion shook the ship. The antimatter containment field flickered for just a microsecond, but that was enough. The cascade failure that followed was both beautiful and terrifying, energy patterns dancing through the ship's systems like deadly lightning. "Emergency stations." Zephyr's voice carried through the ship's communication system. "All crew to emergency positions." But even as he spoke, Zephyr knew they were in trouble. The Stellar Serenity was not built for emergencies. Kythera ships were designed for exploration and research, with redundant safety systems and peaceful purposes. They had never needed to prepare for catastrophic failures because their technology was so refined, so carefully tested, that such things simply did not happen, until now. Within minutes, it became clear that their situation was desperate. The main engine had not just failed, it had been completely destroyed. The antimatter explosion had torn through 3 decks, severing power lines and destroying critical systems. Worse, the life support systems were failing one by one. "Report," Zephyr commanded, though his normally steady voice showed strain. Talon's voice came through the intercom, distorted by static. "Captain, the main engine is gone. Completely destroyed. Secondary power is failing. I estimate we have perhaps 2 days of life support remaining, maybe less if the atmospheric processes continue to degrade." Dr. Lyra looked up from her console, her large eyes wide with fear. "Captain, we are in deep space, far from any established trade routes. Our nearest colony is 3 months away, even if we had engine power." Navigation Officer Kale added grimly, "No scheduled traffic through this sector for at least 6 months. We are effectively invisible out here." Zephyr felt the weight of command pressing down on him. 15 lives depended on his decisions, 15 brilliant minds who had trusted him to lead them safely through the unknown. The Kythera had protocols for emergencies, but nothing like this. They were a peaceful people who had rarely faced true danger in their long history of space exploration. "Communications Officer Mora," Zephyr said quietly. "Prepare a distress signal. Broadcast on all frequencies." Mora hesitated. "Captain, you know our protocols. We should only signal other Kythera vessels, or perhaps trusted trading partners. Broadcasting openly could attract unwanted attention." Zephyr looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were scared but still looked to him for leadership. Outside the viewports, space stretched endlessly in all directions, beautiful and utterly indifferent to their plight. "We will follow emergency protocols," he decided. "Broadcast the signal. Include our species identification, our peaceful intentions, and our coordinates. Someone out there might have the capability to help us." The signal that went out from the dying Kythera ship was simple and desperate. "This is the research vessel Stellar Serenity of the Kythera Republic. We are peaceful scientists conducting deep space research. Our vessel has suffered catastrophic engine failure. Life support systems are failing. We have 15 crew members aboard. We request immediate assistance from any vessel capable of providing aid." We pose no threat and can offer compensation for rescue services. Please respond if you receive this message. The signal raced through space at the speed of light, spreading out in all directions like ripples in a cosmic pond. It would take time to reach any potential rescuers and more time for help to arrive. Time that the crew of the stellar Serenity did not have. 12 light-years away, the signal was detected by Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station, a facility hidden on the far side of Luna. Lieutenant Commander Rachel Torres was on duty when the alien transmission came through. She had been monitoring space communications for 5 years, mostly listening to the chatter of human trading vessels and military patrols. She had never heard anything like this. The computer systems immediately began working to decode the transmission. The language was completely unknown, but the mathematical principles underlying the message were universal. Within an hour, the artificial intelligence had constructed a basic translation matrix. "Holy shit," Rachel whispered as the translated message appeared on her screen. She immediately contacted her superior officer. Admiral Sarah Chen had been in the military for 25 years. She had commanded ships in the asteroid wars, led exploration missions to distant systems, and overseen humanity's expansion into deep space. She was known for her tactical brilliance and her unwavering dedication to protecting human interests. But she had never dealt with alien contact before. Chen arrived at the monitoring station within 30 minutes, her crisp uniform and no-nonsense demeanor reflecting her military background. She read the translated message twice before speaking. "How confident are we that this is genuine?" she asked. 97% confidence, Admiral, replied Dr. Marcus Webb, the station's chief linguistics officer. "The language structure is too complex and consistent to be artificial. The mathematical references check out. The signal originated from coordinates in deep space, exactly where they claim to be." Chen nodded slowly. "Time frame? Based on their description of system failures, they have maybe 48 hours before life support fails completely. Our fastest ships could reach them in 36 hours if we leave immediately." Chen stared at the star charts displayed on the main screen. The location was far outside normal human patrol routes in a region of space that held nothing of strategic importance to humanity. But 15 intelligent beings were dying out there, and they had asked for help. "What's our closest available fleet?" she asked. "Battle Group 7 is conducting training exercises in the Proxima sector. 3 ships. The heavy cruiser Retribution, the fast attack vessel Predator, and the support ship Lifeline. All top-of-the-line vessels with experienced crews." Chen made her decision quickly. "Signal Battle Group 7. Emergency deployment. They are to proceed immediately to these coordinates for search and rescue operations. Full combat readiness. But this is a humanitarian mission." "Admiral," Dr. Webb said hesitantly, "should we notify the civilian government? This is first contact with an alien species." Chen looked at the translated distress message again. 15 beings were dying in the cold of space, calling out desperately for someone, anyone, to save them. There would be time for politics and protocol later. "We save them first," she said firmly. "Politics can wait until they are breathing safely." Battle Group 7 received their new orders while conducting combat maneuvers around a dead moon. "Commander." James Mitchell read the mission briefing twice before believing it was real. "Aliens. Actual aliens, and they needed help." Mitchell was a 30-year veteran of humanity's military forces. He had fought pirates, explored dangerous systems, and led his ships through battles that would have broken lesser commanders. His crew trusted him completely, and he had never lost a ship under his command. But this was different from anything he had ever faced. The Retribution was humanity's newest heavy cruiser, built for extended operations in hostile space. It carried advanced weapon systems, powerful shields, and a crew of 300 highly trained personnel. The ship was designed to fight and win against any threat humanity might encounter in the galaxy. The Predator was smaller but faster, a sleek vessel built for reconnaissance and rapid assault. Its crew of 100 specialists could handle everything from stealth operations to close-quarters combat. The ship's captain, Maria Santos, had earned her reputation fighting smugglers and pirates in the outer systems. The Lifeline served as the fleet support vessel, carrying medical facilities, repair equipment, and supplies. Dr. Elizabeth Harper commanded its medical team, and Chief Engineer David Kim oversaw the technical specialists who could repair almost any piece of equipment in space. "This is unprecedented," Commander Mitchell told his gathered officers. "We are about to make first contact with an alien species and they are in distress. Our mission is rescue and humanitarian aid, but we go in ready for anything." Captain Santos leaned forward. "What do we know about these Kythera?" "Very little," Mitchell admitted. "They claim to be peaceful researchers. Their ship appears to be unarmed. But we've never encountered them before, so we treat this as a potential hostile situation until proven otherwise." Dr. Harper spoke up. "If we are conducting a rescue operation, I'll need to prepare for alien physiology. We have no idea what their medical needs might be." "Do what you can, Doctor. We'll adapt as we learn more." The 3 human ships left their training area immediately, accelerating to maximum speed toward the coordinates provided in the alien distress signal. They traveled in tight formation, weapons powered but not armed, ready to help or fight as the situation demanded. As they journeyed through hyperspace toward their destination, the human crews prepared for every possible scenario. They studied the translated alien message, analyzed the signal patterns, and prepared equipment for potential rescue operations. They had no idea what they would find when they arrived, but they were ready. In the depths of space, the stellar Serenity continued its slow death spiral. Captain Zephyr and his crew worked desperately to extend their life support systems, cannibalizing non-essential systems to buy themselves a few more hours. They had received no response to their distress signal, and hope was beginning to fade. They had no idea that help was already on the way, or that their rescuers came from a world so dangerous that most of the galaxy considered it uninhabitable. They could not have imagined that their salvation would come from a species that had earned its place in space through countless wars and struggles, beings who had turned the art of survival into a deadly science. The Kythera were about to meet humanity, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be quite the same again. When Deathworlders answer the human fleet emerged from hyperspace 34 hours after receiving the distress signal, their arrival announced by the characteristic energy signatures of military-grade faster-than-light drives. Commander Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Retribution, studying the alien vessel that appeared on his main view screen. The stellar Serenity was unlike any ship in the human fleet, where human vessels were built with angular, aggressive lines that spoke of functionality and warfare. The alien ship was curved and organic, its silver hull flowing like liquid metal frozen in space. It was beautiful in a way that human ships were not, elegant and peaceful. It was also clearly dying. "Sensor report," Mitchell commanded. "Sir, the alien vessel shows massive internal damage. Main power is at 15% and falling. Life support appears to be failing in multiple sections. I'm detecting 15 life signs, all showing signs of distress." Mitchell nodded grimly. "Signal the alien vessel. Let them know we are here to help." The communication came through on the emergency frequencies, translated by the computers into something resembling the Kythera language. On board the stellar Serenity, Captain Zephyr received the message with a mixture of relief and growing concern. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Mitchell of the human fleet. We received your distress signal and are here to provide assistance. Please respond." Zephyr looked around his bridge at his surviving crew members. They had been fighting a losing battle against system failures for nearly 2 days. 3 of his people were unconscious from oxygen deprivation. The others were weakening rapidly. "Respond," he told Communications Officer Mora. "Tell them we are grateful for their help." The reply came back quickly. "We are preparing to dock with your vessel and begin emergency repairs. Please prepare to receive our technical teams." As the human ships moved closer, Zephyr began to realize that their rescuers were not what he had expected. The approaching vessels were massive, bristling with what could only be weapon systems. These were not civilian rescue ships or even military escorts. These were warships, built for battle and destruction. "Captain," Dr. Lyra said quietly, "these humans appear to be a military species. Their ships are designed for combat." Zephyr nodded, his concern growing. "What kind of species traveled through space in such heavily armed vessels?" Were they pirates? Conquerors? Or were they simply cautious explorers who had learned that space could be dangerous? The largest human ship, the Retribution, moved into docking position with frightening precision. Zephyr watched in amazement as the human vessel maneuvered using thrusters that seemed far more powerful than anything the Kythera had ever built. The docking was completed in minutes, a task that would have taken Kythera engineers an hour of careful calculation. "Sir," came a voice through the communicator, speaking in heavily accented but understandable Kythera. "This is Chief Engineer Kim of the human vessel Retribution. We are ready to come aboard and begin repairs. Can you meet us at your main airlock?" Zephyr made his way through the failing corridors of his ship, noting how the temperature had dropped as the environmental systems struggled to maintain atmosphere. When he reached the airlock, he could hear mechanical sounds from the other side as the humans prepared to board. The first human through the airlock was shorter than any adult Kythera, but built like a piece of industrial machinery. Chief Engineer David Kim was broad-shouldered and muscular, his movements efficient and powerful. Behind him came two other humans carrying tools and equipment that looked far more advanced than anything aboard the Stellar Serenity, but it was their presence that struck Zephyr most forcefully. The humans moved with a confidence that spoke of countless dangerous situations overcome. They scanned their environment with eyes that missed nothing, and their tools were carried with the ease of beings who had learned to work under pressure. "Captain Zephyr," Kim said, extending a hand in what Zephyr recognized as a human greeting gesture. "I'm Dave Kim. We are here to get your ship running again." Zephyr carefully shook the human's hand, noting the strength in those fingers. Kim's grip could probably crush Kythera bones without effort, yet he was gentle and careful. "We are grateful for your assistance," Zephyr said. "Our main engine has been destroyed, and our life support systems are failing." Kim nodded. "We detected that on our sensors. The good news is that your ship's still structurally sound. The bad news is that you've got about 6 hours of air left, maybe less. But don't worry, we've dealt with worse situations than this." As they made their way toward the engine room, Kim explained the human approach to emergency repairs. "We are going to bypass your main engine entirely and install a temporary power core from our supplies. It won't get you home, but it'll keep you alive until we can arrange a proper repair facility." The concept was alien to Zephyr. Kythera engineering was precise and methodical, with each component carefully designed to work in harmony with every other system. The idea of bypassing major systems and installing temporary fixes seemed dangerous and reckless, but as he watched the humans work, Zephyr began to understand that they operated under different principles entirely. Where Kythera technology sought perfection and harmony, human technology was designed for adaptability and survival. The humans didn't just repair systems, they rebuilt them on the fly, improvising solutions that should not have worked but somehow did. "Your people seem very skilled at emergency repairs," Zephyr observed as Kim's team began installing new power conduits. Kim glanced up from his work. "We've had a lot of practice. Humans have been building things and breaking them for thousands of years. We got good at fixing stuff fast when our lives depended on it." "Your lives depended on it?" "Sure. Back on Earth, if your shelter failed during a storm, you died. If your hunting tools broke, you starved. If your boat sank, you drowned. We learned to fix things quickly or we didn't survive." Zephyr was quiet for a moment, processing this information. The Kythera had never faced such harsh conditions. Their homeworld was gentle and forgiving, and their technology had developed slowly and carefully over millennia of peaceful progress. Meanwhile, aboard the Lifeline, Dr. Harper was preparing to treat the alien crew members who had been affected by oxygen deprivation. She had studied the biological data transmitted from the Stellar Serenity and made her best guesses about Kythera physiology. When she boarded the alien ship, she found 3 Kythera in critical condition. Their crystalline skin had dulled to a gray color, and their large eyes were partially closed. Dr. Lyra, the ship's science officer, was attending to them as best she could. "I'm Dr. Harper," the human said, kneeling beside the unconscious aliens. "Can you tell me about their condition?" Dr. Lyra looked at the human woman with a mixture of hope and fear. Dr. Harper was smaller than a Kythera but moved with the same confident precision as the other humans. Her medical equipment looked far more sophisticated than anything in the alien ship's medical bay. They have been unconscious for several hours, Lyra explained. Their breathing is shallow and their body temperature has dropped significantly. Harper ran her scanner over the patients, studying the readings carefully. Oxygen deprivation, as expected. But their physiology is different enough that I need to be careful with treatment. May. Working together, the human doctor and the Kythera scientist began treating the unconscious crew members. Harper's methods were direct and efficient, using medications and techniques that seemed almost primitive compared to Kythera medical philosophy, but which produced immediate results. Your medical knowledge seems very practical, Lyra observed. As the patients began to show signs of improvement. Human medicine developed on a world where injuries and illnesses could kill quickly, Harper explained. We learned to treat trauma, poison, infections, and injuries that would be fatal if not addressed immediately. Our medicine is focused on keeping people alive in dangerous situations. As the hours passed and the human repair teams worked throughout the stellar Serenity, the Kythera crew began to understand something profound about their rescuers. These humans were not just technologically advanced, they were survivors in a way that the peaceful Kythera could barely comprehend. Every tool the humans used had been designed for harsh conditions. Every technique they employed had been tested in situations where failure meant death. Their entire approach to problem solving was based on the assumption that the universe was actively trying to kill them, and they had learned to fight back with ingenuity and determination. Captain, Engineer Talon said to Zephyr as they watched the humans work, I have been studying their techniques. These beings appear to come from an environment far more hostile than anything we have ever encountered. Zephyr nodded. Their ship designs, their tools, their methods, everything suggests they evolved in conditions that would be lethal to most species. What kind of world produces such beings? That question was answered when Captain Santos of the Predator came aboard to coordinate the rescue efforts. She was tall for a human, with scars on her hands that spoke of a life spent in dangerous situations. When Zephyr asked about human homeworld, her description was shocking. Earth has gravity 3 times what you used to hear, Santos explained. Most of the planet is covered in water that can kill you in minutes if you fall in. The weather includes storms that can level cities, temperatures that range from freezing to boiling, and atmospheric pressure that changes constantly. And life evolved in such conditions? Zephyr asked, horrified. Life didn't just evolve there, Santos said with a slight smile. Life got really good at surviving there. Humans had to compete with predators that could run faster than our vehicles, fly higher than our aircraft, and swim deeper than our submarines. We survived by becoming the most adaptable and determined species on the planet. Dr. Lyra, who had been listening to this conversation, spoke up. Your world sounds like what we would call a death world, a planet so dangerous that only the most resilient life forms could survive. Yeah, that's about right, Santos agreed. Most species we've encountered so far consider Earth uninhabitable. But it's home to us. As the repairs continued, word spread through both ships about the nature of their first contact. The humans were learning that the Kythera were peaceful scientists from a gentle world, beings who had never known true danger or hardship. The Kythera were discovering that their rescuers were warriors from a death world, shaped by millions of years of survival in conditions that would kill most life in the galaxy. Yet despite these vast differences, cooperation between the two species was working remarkably well. The humans' aggressive problem-solving approach complemented the Kythera's scientific knowledge. The aliens' peaceful nature allowed them to accept help gracefully, while the humans' protective instincts made them determined to save every life aboard the failing ship. After 8 hours of continuous work, Chief Engineer Kim announced that the emergency repairs were complete. You've got full life support now, and enough power to reach the nearest starbase. The temporary engine will get you there, but you'll need proper repairs before attempting any long-distance travel. Captain. Zephyr could hardly believe what the humans had accomplished. Systems that should have taken weeks to repair had been fixed in hours. His crew was safe, his ship was functional, and 15 lives had been saved by beings they had never met before. How can we repay you for this? Zephyr asked Commander Mitchell as the human teams prepared to return to their ships. Mitchell considered the question carefully. Keep exploring. Keep seeking knowledge. The galaxy needs more beings like your people, curious, peaceful, dedicated to understanding rather than conquering. And what of your people? Zephyr asked. What drives humans to travel so far to help? Strangers. Mitchell smiled. Same thing that drives you to explore, I think. Curiosity about what's out there. The difference is that we come from a world that taught us to expect danger, so we are prepared for it. But that doesn't mean we look for fights. We'd rather make friends. As the human fleet prepared to depart, both species knew that this first contact would change the galaxy. The peaceful Kythera had learned that not all dangerous species were hostile and that sometimes strength could be used to protect rather than conquer. The humans had discovered that there were beings in the galaxy who had never known war, species that had developed science and art without the driving force of survival pressure. The stellar Serenity limped toward the nearest repair facility, its crew forever changed by their encounter with the humans. And the human fleet resumed its patrol, carrying word that somewhere in the galaxy were beings who proved that intelligence could develop without violence, that curiosity could exist without competition. In the months that followed, formal diplomatic contact would be established between Earth and Kyrian. Trade agreements would be signed, scientific knowledge would be shared, and a friendship would develop between two vastly different civilizations. But it all began with a simple distress signal, answered by beings who had learned that sometimes the most dangerous species in the galaxy could also be the most compassionate. The Kythera had called for help, and humanity had answered, not with conquest or exploitation, but with aid freely given to strangers in need. The galaxy was a little less lonely and a little more hopeful because of that simple act of interstellar kindness.